Welcome to Love and Stuff. I am Marcus Holmes, your facilitator, and I'm very pleased that you're here. I was just checking the status of a few things, and our senior associate producer is here. He will assist us in facilitating. 1 second. Assist us in facilitating those that are joining us. And I'm turning down the volume because we're on Zoom. And so he will assist us in facilitating you getting on Zoom with us by dropping the link in the comments. J. Gerald Harvey is our senior associate producer, so look for his comment if you're interested in joining live with me. Michael Thornton has joined, Corey Reed has joined, Chaplain Pauline Bill Bray has joined, as well as others. And I hope that you will click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion so that their input and your input makes our Love and Stuff show and community the great show it is. Let me at the outset, thank you so much for those of you that have been following our fundraiser to help support a member of our Love and Stuff community, Lynn Shaw, with her medical expenses. If you've been following us, you know that Lynn Shaw has co-authored an ebook with us, and she is on a journey of healing from multiple myeloma cancer, and those bills can be astronomical. And so we set a goal for $5,000. We've hit 10% of that goal, and we're going to repopulate that fundraiser because it closes after so many days, but we definitely want to reach our goal. I want to thank those of you who have donated already, and you can donate any amount, but thank you for donating. Lynn certainly appreciates it, and as she is feeling better and stronger, she is going to do a live video so that you'll have the opportunity to see that she appreciates your support and your love. Ann Lewis has joined us. Pam Caldwell has joined us. I hope that you will click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. I am going to share this with a few folks to join us in the discussion right now. And I hope that you will do the same thing as I am sharing with some other folks to join us in the discussion. I will read the topic in a moment. I believe J. Gerald Harvey is the fourth has already posted it, but I will make sure that I post it as well to ensure that you have the opportunity to see the topic and maybe pin the topic so that you will be able to share. While I'm doing that, I hope that you will click share and tag some people to join us in the discussion. 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to join us in the discussion. Love and Stuff is a great community, and I'm so pleased and proud to be able to facilitate it. Our overall goal is to increase the amount of love in the world. And we believe one of the ways that we can do that is by getting you to talk about these topics that come from the inbox so that we can share our different and varying perspectives in the hope that everyone can up their love game. You may see yourself in one of these topics, and you need to know then that you are not alone, that what you are experiencing, there are others that are experiencing the very same thing. So I wanted to make sure that I'm actually, great. I'm able to share with some folks. Pam Caldwell, Michelle Ballard, thank you so much. Been thinking of you and praying for you in the loss of your dad. What a great man he was. Jimmy Colors Jr., one of my elementary school friends, thank you from Las Vegas. I appreciate you. Linda Phillips, Algina Johnson, all of you. I hope that you will click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. All right, I've tagged some folks. And we'll get right into the topic. Yep, have some folks join us in the discussion. If you're interested in joining the live on Zoom, the link has been placed in the comments. All you have to do is add that link to your browser. Voila, you'll be able to join us right here live. And we're hoping that you do. It certainly helps to provide a certain kind of excitement to our Facebook episode, if you will. All right, so I'm going to go into the topic really quickly. And J. Gerald, I think we'll post that very shortly. From the inbox, excuse me. Maybe the Love and Stuff folks can answer this. Why do women have sex with a man on the first date and expect him to be all in? Why do women meet a man that can't stand his ways but keep on dating him? I'm 31 and I'm probably not going to marry a woman who has sex with me on the first date, but I probably won't turn it down either. I'm going to hang out with the fellas. I'm going to, I'm going to watch sports and I'm going to occasionally hit the casino. I'm not perfect, but I don't want a woman to change my life, just enhance. Last year, I had 3 steadies and several hot and readies, either wanting to change me or giving it up right away. Ladies, why? So his question is, ladies, why do you engage, if you do, on the first date in sexual activity, expecting that so much more is going to happen than sex? And then why do you keep dating a man who you don't like the way he lives or conducts his life or conducts his business, but you keep dating him? Why do you hope that you can change him? Well, I want to hear from you. Is this true? You know, I broached this conversation with a few folks because I wanted to see, you know, in this modern day, whether or not sex on the first date is more acceptable than it might have been years ago. It always happens. It has happened to many, many people. But whether or not it's acceptable or more acceptable is the question. So Ginger Henry has joined us. Thank you so much. I thought it was Ginger Hudson. I was going to say both of you. Okay. Sandra Beavers has joined us. David Carter, Justin Davis, Kim Wilson. I want to talk to some of you, and I hope that you will click on the link, add the Zoom link to your browser so that you can join us here live. What do you say to this brother in the inbox who is 31 and wonders, why do women always have sex on the first date? Now, he didn't say when women have sex on the first date. He didn't say every woman has sex on the first date. But for him, a number of women that have sex on the first date have an expectation that he is going to be all in. Okay? That's number one. Number two, why do women keep dating a man who they can't stand his ways? Maybe he hangs out too much, or he drinks too much, or he watches too much sports, or he doesn't spend enough FaceTime, or whatever it is. Why do you keep dating that man if you don't think that he's going to change? Hey, Sandra Beavers, I want you to come in and talk with me. You know, I shared your Single Life Stress Free, and it's almost 1,000 views for that. So I'm sure people will be interested to see your face. And so I hope that you will copy that link into your browser. Even if you're on your phone, you can close out the Facebook app just minimize it. Cut and paste that link for the browser and put it in your browser, rather your Google Chrome or whatever you use, and come on live with us. I'd like to talk to you and find out, what do you think? And I'm talking to all of you. What do you think about sex on the first date? Give me some likes. If maybe this is a different age, we're in a different decade for certain, but it was not in many decades ago, as many as I can remember, it wasn't something that was looked on favorably if you were having sex on the first date. Not necessarily for the woman, I wouldn't say. I would say there are a number of men, and I don't know if the brothers want to step up and say it, but there are a number of men who I will oblige, right? But I'm wondering whether or not that dynamic has changed some in this more modern thinking. And so I want to hear from you. Tiffany Funderburk has joined us. Thanks so much for coming back to Love and Stuff. I hope all of you that are here will click share, tag some folks to join us in the discussion. And I'm hoping that you will join us now. All right, join us in the discussion. What do you say? What do you say? Yep, thanks. Go to the Zoom app, and the meeting ID is 799-275-437. The passcode is 578495. And that's in the link. Thank you, Senior Associate Producer J. Gerald Harvey, for that. So I'm hoping that you will join. That's Nasty No Man Can Have My Goodies. So Sandra, come on, join us. I want to talk to you on the screen. You know, I don't know that there is a date certain, you know, that a man can have your goodies necessarily, but I know that people have read Steve Harvey's book and some have the 90-day rule. Some, of course, that are Christians, they're practicing to the extent that they can do, and they can do it. The power is there to do it. They're practicing celibacy until marriage. And there are some that consider casual dating just that two people who have great chemistry, great physical chemistry, might hook up and they might have sexual intercourse. And if that happens on the first date, which for some people it has happened, does happen, will happen, doesn't mean that because you had great chemistry that you're now expecting that guy or that female to be all in. Sonia Sharice has joined us. Thank you so much for coming. One of our Love and Stuff community members. All of you that are community members, we appreciate you for coming back Tuesday after Tuesday. And what we're hoping that you will do, just like Sonia Sharice often does, that you will click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to join us right here in the discussion. Okay? So you got to tag some folks to join us in the discussion. All right. So what do you say? Whether or not it is okay, ladies, should you be expecting more if you're giving, as Sandra says, the goodies? Should that be your expectation? What's your expectation if you were to have sex on the first date? Now, I know that there are, you know, for a lot of people, particularly Christians and devout, maybe other devout practitioners of a religious belief might say, oh no, that's taboo, you don't do that. And I'm not promoting sex before marriage. I'm not promoting premarital sex. I'm saying that if it is a reality of our day and of yesterday and of the day before, which I do believe it is a reality, is there some stigma around having sex on the first date? And if you do, what's your expectation of the continuation of that? What is it? Is it friends with benefits? Is it what is it? What do you characterize it as? Because from our inbox, this gentleman is saying he's run across a number of women who, when they have sex on the first date, they are expecting him to be all in, that he is relationship ready when he was just relations ready. Deborah Hill has joined us. Thanks for coming to Love and Stuff. Jerome Rutledge, thank you, sir. Happy New Year. Thanks for coming to Love and Stuff. Tyann Wilson, nothing, nada, but to be walked through door after, you know, common courtesy. Okay. So Tyann, if I can get you to join us, the link is there. I hope that you will come on live with us. The link is there. J. Gerald has given the link for you to come on the Zoom and the meeting ID and passcode. Sonia says, my expectation would be to hopefully have an orgasm. Okay, I'd like for you to come on the camera. We got to bring this to the camera. Lynn Shaw is here, who is a member of our Love and Stuff community. And Lynn, I was just telling them earlier, thanking them on your behalf for those that have donated so far. We're going to reopen the fundraiser. It closes after a certain number of days, and we're only at 10%, but we're grateful for the 10% that we have achieved so far. That is going to be of benefit to you, to help you and others like you with medical expenses. We appreciate it. Sex doesn't equal a relationship. Thank you for that, Sonia Sharice. Tamuk Scruggs has joined us. Thank you so much. I hope that I can get him in. I would love right now if Sonia Sharice, Sandra Beavers, Tamuk Scruggs, and Tyann Wilson will come. Heck, I'm going to go on a limb and see if Jerome Rutledge. I just think he won't, but I'm going to go on and throw it on out there. If I could get you all to join me on Zoom, there is a link that was dropped in the comments that you can click on. You should be able to join a meeting without downloading the app. So that's why the link is there so that you can join this specific meeting by putting it in your browser. If you already have the Zoom app, it's even easier for you to be able to join a meeting because our senior associate producer has put the meeting ID and the password, okay? But I'd like for you all to join me in the discussion. Sonia Sharice, Tamuk Scruggs, Tyann Wilson, and oh, I'm sorry, on the day right now, other than that, I would be Elaine. Well, I think the both of you should come on, and maybe this is a good conversation for a date. Because I will imagine on a date that you all are discussing, well, I would think on a date that two adults discuss the boundaries of dates. At least I would. And some people have in the past criticized me for having what they consider such intimate conversations. But I think it's important that you set ground rules up front. Women need to stop and be honest with themselves. Why would you expect a relationship from a man after sex on the first date? If it happens, that's one thing. But to really expect it and hold that over him, nah, get real and put them big girl panties back on. All right. So, and Tamuk is saying yam. So, Tyann, that's great. Will you join me, please? Tamuk, will you join me? Sonia Sharice, will you join me? Because I'm going to need somebody to counter Tamuk. And come on the live with us. All right. Straight from the inbox, this gentleman is saying, listen, I don't think that you should expect, because we have phenomenal chemistry and or sex, that I am going to be all in after date number one. He also says, let's say we date and you find that I have ways that get under your skin. Why do you keep dating me? If you don't like that I play sports or hang out all the time or go to the casino or drink, if there are things about me that you don't like, why do you keep dating me? Okay, on my way. Very good. Sonia Wadi, thanks for coming. Erica, thank you so much for coming. 3 minutes and I'll join in. Okay, let's move it on. Let's move it along. Come on in. You're welcome to come in. A number of participants can come in, which will be one of the magic things about utilizing Zoom. We're trying to work diligently, looking at all of these multi-streaming opportunities and platforms, because we now have a Twitch channel, a YouTube channel. We already have the LinkedIn. And so we're looking to do streaming on multiple platforms, but we want to make sure that we're providing you content that you want to share, where it all began, right here on Love and Stuff here on Facebook. So I hope that you will join us through Zoom, because we can no longer swipe you in through Facebook. We can swipe you in through Zoom though. And you can join us by clicking on the link, adding the meeting ID and password if you have the app, or the link should take you directly to joining the meeting based on the link information that Jay Gerald has placed in our comments. Those of you that have just joined, like Erica, and Sonia Wadi, I hope that you have clicked share and that you will tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to join us in this discussion. And the discussion is around a 31-year-old who's from the inbox saying, why, ladies, do you expect that I'm going to be all in when we smash on the first date? Now, he didn't use that word, but I thought I'd just bring it a little closer to you. And why, if you don't like my ways, do you continue to date me? Why do you continue to date a guy? You're a homebody, he likes to hang out. He likes to hang out with his friends, you don't like his friends. He likes to go play sports or is very into sports. You don't like sports at all. He likes to drink. You don't want him drinking. If he has ways or behaviors that you can't stand, why, ladies, do you continue to date a man who has ways that you cannot stand? He is likely not going to change those ways. He could. But if he is showing you no sign of a desire to change his ways or compromise, from the inbox, this 31-year-old man is asking why. He's also saying, I don't think I would ever marry a woman who I had sex with on the first date, but I'm not going to turn it down. Now, I asked him about that. I said, well, you mean you're not going to turn it down if the chemistry is right? And he said, yeah, or if the chemistry is not so right and I'm in a slump, I may not turn it down. So I thought that was interesting, because I can imagine if you have a lot of chemistry with someone, you all are really vibing, you're feeling each other. I could imagine that you might say, but for the sake of it, because it's offered to you, it might be a whole different show. Might be. But I want to hear from you, especially the ladies and the gentlemen. Gentlemen, do you kind of subscribe to what this brother is saying? That if sex happens on the first date, why would you be all in? Give me some likes, brothers, if that's you, if you agree with that. That a sister should not be all in, that your sex partner should not be all in, just to be diverse and inclusive. Your sex partner should not be all in because you had amazing sex. Give me some likes if you agree with that. That you heard somebody say, put your big girl panties on. That was Tyann. So then, ladies, are you expecting more when you're having sex on the first date? Or does it matter? First date, 10th date, 8th date, 90th date. Doesn't matter what date it is. Do you have higher expectations because you're engaging in sex? Sonia, I think Cherie says, sex does not equal a relationship. My expectation would be to hopefully have an orgasm. I think that's a fair expectation among adults. I hope that if two adults decide to engage in sex, that they're going to please the other. And it is not just for their individual pleasures, but in that pleasure, there should be some ecstasy, some climax. So I can hear that and understand it. All right. Okay, looking for you to join us. All right. Giving you an opportunity to come right on in. And any of you that want to join, the link again is in the comments. Feel free to click on the link, or if you have the Zoom app, you can go to the app and enter the meeting ID, join the meeting, enter the meeting ID and password. But the link should do it for you. If you copy that link and put it in your browser, you shouldn't have to download Zoom. You should be able to join a meeting. Okay? So give me some likes. I want to make sure. Yep, there is a link in the comments. Some reason I have to, let me do it this way. Jay Gerald, if you can just repopulate that link one more time for those. I'm going to see if I can do it really quickly. I try not to do all of that. Link, they're saying link. So here is the link. That's the link. I just put it back in. I put it in there again. And it's showing up to me as a hyperlink that you should be able to just press the button, but that could just be my computer showing that versus you having to cut and paste the entire link. That link should take you directly to the meeting. Yeah, it should take you to open Zoom meetings and you should be able to open it. Okay, Sonia Sharice has joined us, and I want to make sure that I didn't double myself because I was trying to, yep, I did. Okay. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. All right. All right, there's Sonia Sharice. Now make sure at the bottom left that your mic and your video is on, but I don't know if I can hear you. Can I hear you? Sonia Sharice? So at the bottom left, if you go to the bottom left, you got to unmute your mic. Bottom left of your screen. Okay, lost your video, so you muted your video. You got to keep your video going and unmute your mic. Pam Bass has joined us. Happy New Year. Thanks for coming to Love and Stuff. I hope that you will click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. Michael Thornton says, women I find nowadays are far more aggressive than men are. So these women are lying. A woman knows who she is going to sleep with before she sleeps with them. Okay. Sonia, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
And I can hear you. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Always glad to have you here. So listen, Michael Thornton is saying women I find nowadays are far more aggressive than men are. So these women are lying. A woman knows who she's going to sleep with before she sleeps with them. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, so you have predetermined if you're gonna sleep with somebody or not, right?
If I like him, if I think there's the vibe is there and the chemistry and the connection, I'm already thinking about it 9 times out of 10.
Okay. And if the vibe and chemistry and connection are right, are you hoping, thinking, wishing that it will be more than sex?
Not necessarily. Sometimes, but not necessarily.
Okay. And what are the factors that might come to play? I'm going to just check in. Diane Rudolph has joined us. Thank you. Happy New Year. I know this is one of the saints that's coming in here. So this is kind of a hot topic. And so I'm just letting you know. Okay. So what are the factors that make you to say, I want this to really be something? If he has everything else lined up, or what makes you say, I want this to be my husband? What adds to that if there's really amazing sex?
I guess for me, it was just more so like where I was in my life and what I wanted for me at the time. And if I didn't necessarily want a relationship or a husband, then I wasn't, thinking along those terms.
Got it. Brian Morgan has joined us. Thanks for coming to Love and Stuff. Michael Thornton says, thank you. So let me ask you this. The second part of his question, and he's 31. First, he said he would not marry someone who he had sex with on the first date. Do you think that, how does that land on you? That's
his own personal, that's his own personal, feeling. In my opinion, the older you are, I know older guys don't necessarily think that way.
Okay.
In my experience.
Okay.
When you're younger, I think that has a little bit to do with it because we're conditioned to not have sex on the first day, and it's like a script almost. But the older you get, I know for me, there is no script. There is no timetable. There is no set way to do things. You just never know.
Okay.
So I find that a lot of times, the older you get, you tend to start to think a little differently. So that doesn't surprise me that he thinks like that, and it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Eric Powell has joined us. Thanks for coming to Love and Stuff. Happy New Year, Pam. Hey, Brian. And so I was going to also ask, so the second part of his, or his second question was, now, why do women continue to date a man when they're always pointing out to him things about him that they can't stand? If he hangs out too much, he drinks too much, he smokes too much, he goes to the casino too much, or whatever behaviors they don't like. Would you continue to date a man if he had these features about him that you didn't like? And have you ever known of women that just kept dating a man that they kept saying, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that about him? Why do women do that?
I don't know. I cannot answer that. I do not know. That is a very good question.
Okay.
Personally, no, I'm not going to do that. Now, I have stayed in a relationship with someone that I thought or that I felt he was doing some things that I didn't like, but it didn't have, it was more to it than that. It was a long story. Long story short, at that time, it was because I wanted that relationship to work. And he was saying that, okay, I'm going to do this and we're going to do that and this will change. And so I believed that, and I hope that we were working towards that. But just arbitrarily, I meet you, we're going out, and I see that you smoke, or I see that you like to go out. Like I don't like to go out a lot. I'll hang out with my friends and that sort of thing. But if you're the kind of guy that goes to the bar on Monday, Tuesday, you know all the barmaids and everybody there, and Friday you at this, like that's, you're not gonna be the one for me. I'm not gonna judge you because that's what you do, but that's not what I do. So why I can't see that working between us.
And so back to where you're in a relationship, do you hope that the person will change? Is why would you stay in the relationship? You're hoping they're going to change.
I hope he would change, and he said that he would. And he said, I want us to work on this. I want to make this work. Let's do this. I'll do that. Yeah, I absolutely hope he would change. I hope that he was telling me the truth and that we were both working towards the same thing. And of course, that's when I was, you know, a little younger. I'm a little more seasoned now. You know, I'm almost 50. I don't have time to waste. So I'm not doing that at this point. Yeah. I meet people often, and when I see or feel that that person is not the person for me for whatever reason, it's no hard feelings. Well, I'm going to move on. And honestly, I think it's interesting that he asked the question, why do women stay, or why do they keep dating, you know, when they don't like this or that? When we don't, in my experience, when I don't do that, then I'm too hard on people, or I don't give people a chance, or that sort of thing. So it's almost like you can't win for losing.
And you were saying earlier, when you were younger, as you got older, it changes. Do you think as we get older that we're more apt to engage in, I think you muted yourself. Okay, we're more apt to engage in.
Hold on, Marcus. Hold on. My phone was ringing. You got to ask that question again.
Okay. And while I'm doing that, Felix Holmes has joined us. I'd love, Felix, for you to come on live with us. It's a great topic. Pam says, I don't complain, I just end it. Oh, okay. All right. Rashida the Glam Doctor LaShawn has joined us. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you. So have you found that as you're getting older, that you're more likely to have sex sooner, or does it just not have anything to do for you with, you haven't noticed any progression that you are more apt to do it? It just depends on the chemistry.
A little bit of both.
Okay.
It depends on the chemistry, but if the chemistry is right and it's good, I would do it sooner.
And I was kind of sharing that in the inbox, Sonia. I thought, not that 31 is young, but it's young, relatively. And I said, you know, even though I think this world and society kind of promotes sexual behavior early in connections. It's always been in our songs, but now to me it is more overt. And with, you know, social media being as powerful as it is, there are tons of images that kind of put your mind front and center. But I was telling him, as you get older, you lose some of those inhibitions, a lot of. And so whereas he might think that it is not common for a lady to have sex early on, the older that you get, my experience in talking with people is that you're more likely,
you don't give a damn,
to not have those inhibitions as much.
Yeah. I have the same experience, and not just like me, like my friends, men and women, and not necessarily meaning it's going to happen on the first date, but if the chemistry is there, it can happen sooner than it would have maybe, say, when we were 20 or 25 or whatever the case may be.
Okay. Marilyn Nelson has joined us. Happy New Year. Thanks for coming to Love and Stuff. Kim God is my hero Jones has joined us. Thanks for coming to Love and Stuff. I'd love for you to click on Zoom and come on. I'm waiting for Tyann. I'm waiting for Tamuk to join in this discussion. I think it will add to this discussion that we're already having. From the inbox, a 31-year-old man is saying, ladies, why do you have sex on the first date and then expect the guy to be all in? And why do you say that you can't stand his ways, but you keep dating him? Why would you keep dating him? I had to ask him, well, why do you keep dating her?
I was just about to ask you that. I was just about to say that because
and he said because the company is good and the sex is free. And that opened a whole nother conversation, which I think I'll have to develop into another show. But
okay.
he
So the company is good even though she
Mhm.
complains all the time.
Yes, he's saying she complains all the time, but what he's learned to do, and it is a bad thing that we learn to do. We do it with our children and sometimes with our spouses and significant others. We tune them out because we at a point we think you're crying wolf because you're not going to stay anywhere with somebody if what they are doing or how they're behaving is really offensive to you unless something's wrong with you. You're not going to stay in a situation forever unless you don't have the courage to walk away from it. So we say it's not that important to you. You just love to fuss. You just love to complain. When in fact, it might be important to that person, and there might be a real discussion that needs to be had. If you don't like who I am, maybe you need to move forward.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. Okay, Tamu, come on. I'm waiting for you to join. All right, Eunice Hunter has joined. Thanks, cousin, for coming to Love and Stuff, and congratulations. I think you're on a keto life, and so I'm happy for you. Great for you. I want to go back and talk a little bit from the inbox as I got into some of the conversation with him, and we started to talk a little bit about because he says at a point in his inbox that last year, meaning 2019, he had 3 steadies and several hot and readies. And so I wanted him to explain that to me. And he said that there were 3 women that he dated pretty regularly simultaneously.
Okay.
And when the nagging got too bad or something didn't go as well, he went to the hot and readies, and he found that the hot and readies wanted more, and the steadies who complained wouldn't go away. And so, yep.
So I'm trying to figure out how do you have that much time? I don't understand. That's just a lot.
When I was younger, I can remember, I won't call them steadies, but I can remember having dated not just one date. But
it sounds like he's doing more than dating.
Well, it sounds like from his own account, there is regular intimacy with several people. But what he finds is that the ones that he thought, okay, this is steady, this could be more. Let me see which one of you will last. They started to get into the nag mode, which I always tell people, you got to be careful of nagging.
Okay.
But the ones that were hot and readies, as he calls them, that were willing to have sex just casually, were the ones who wanted more, who thought, okay, why aren't you calling me back? Why aren't you taking me out? Why we always got to get together at night? And I thought, who are they? How much younger are they than you? And some were younger, but some are his age.
So have you had a conversation with any of these women to let them know where he was at as far as, you know, maybe not being ready for a relationship or anything? Had that occurred? I just don't understand. I mean, it's okay to wonder why or question why women do A, B, and C, but I'm just trying to figure out why is he doing it?
Yeah, I think it's sport for him, and I think it's an ego stroker for him to have many different women who want you.
Okay.
Women who tell you, you know, you're at the top of their black book. When they want it, they're going to you. Some men thrive on that.
Okay. I'm not a guy, so I'll take your word for it.
Some men thrive on, you know, which person am I going to be with Friday night after I go hang out with the fellas? And some men might brag on that. That might be a notch in their belt to brag upon. Look, I got this one. I'm going eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Some men.
Well, if he's listening and he's, taking any advice, just throwing this out there. If
Mhm.
you are possibly looking for someone that maybe you can settle down with, it's possible that you're blocking your own blessings with these so-called hot readies and all this
Mhm.
other stuff going. You
Mhm.
you you can't make room for the person that you might be with if you have all of this other stuff and all of these other people cluttering up this space. But I
Great.
mean, at
Great.
30, he might not be thinking like that.
Yeah, great point. Kim, God is my hero. Jones says some feel that negative attention is better than no attention. Great point, or at least subconsciously, or
Mhm.
some. I think that's a great point. And Kim,
Yeah.
God is my hero. I hope that you will join us. The Zoom meeting ID is there in passcode. We're looking for Tamuk to join us. I don't know what happened to Tyann, who was supposed to join us to come live, but our senior associate producer has put the Zoom meeting ID and the passcode. So Sonia Sharice, did you have to download Zoom or were you able to just use the link?
Let me tell you, I don't know what you got me over here doing. I'm almost 50 years old. You got me trying to use technology. I
Yes.
hit the link, then it wouldn't let me. Then it started downloading. Then I couldn't see the numbers. Then I came back. I hit the link again. So I don't know if it's downloaded or not. I don't know, but I
Okay.
finally got in. That's
Yeah,
all.
you're here. You're here. That's what matters most of all. Yep. And so I hope those of you that are here will click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. I'm talking with Sonia Sharice, who also happens to be a member of our Love and Stuff community and is on the gratefulness journey. I'm going to do a quick check-in with her on the gratefulness journey while I'm waiting for some of you to join us. All right, good. Sonia Sharice, so you're on the gratefulness journey. I kind of track some of the posts. Tell me what that gratefulness journey has been like for you. This is our commercial break.
Lately, it's been kind of rough. So see, here you go. I'm not gonna do this today. I'm not gonna do this. Lately, it's been a little bit rough.
Okay.
So I am consciously looking for things to be grateful for and remembering that, I do have a lot to be grateful for and not to concentrate on the things that may not be going as I would like them to be.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's been a little rough lately.
Yeah, there are moments on the gratefulness journey where you don't see and feel as grateful as you might hope to feel. And what I've been learning and continuing to share is that you have to sit in the center of that, Sonia, and experience what you're experiencing because it's a part of the gratefulness journey. Sometimes when you feel the place where you're most down and you feel the place where you're most disappointed and feel the place where you're most broken, when you are able to pull yourself up out of that place, you have that much more gratefulness
It's
for
true.
knowing that though you are at a place, that you don't have to stay in that place.
Mm-hmm.
And so um
I
I can.
will say I am grateful for the people that I have in my life
Mhm.
because they remind me constantly um, that it hasn't always been like this and it won't always be like this.
Mhm.
So I am grateful for that. There are quite a few people that I do confide in, and I don't know what I would do without them.
Mhm. I think that's really important, and I appreciate your sharing so transparently because I don't want to ever give the impression that the gratefulness journey is strewn with roses and no thorns.
Yeah, no.
There are no black ice spots. There are slippery spots
Mhm.
along the journey, so you gotta always be mindful of that. Always be mindful.
Mhm.
Ernest Sisson has joined us. Tabitha Goodner has joined us. And Sonia Sharice, because I see Kim is here, but I can barely see her face for some reason. Say something, Kim. So you probably have to go to the left bottom of your screen and you have to unmute your mic. All right, I think you unmuted it. Okay, so I can barely see your face. Okay, she dipped out a second. Okay, so I think that is really important to share. And I think I'm so glad that you're on the gratefulness journey. And I was going back through some of the other footage and trying to, because we're on multiple channels now. And I saw the interview where we talked about colorism. And it brought back to me that I had talked about, maybe doing some coloring books or some books for young girls and maybe young boys.
Absolutely.
Have experienced what you had experienced. And I was like, wow, how powerful that is, that you be taken through a situation and come out on the other side. That's something to be grateful for. Even if you go back and forward and you have to relive some of those memories, or you see someone who was a part of that whole ordeal, and it causes you to lock up for a second because you remember that person, but you're reminded that you're so much stronger, you're so much wiser, you have so much more perseverance and fortitude. Those are also things to be grateful for. So going through that journey of, dark moments that you might be experiencing, I'm glad you do have, and I'm grateful that you do have people around you who are telling you this too shall pass. This won't be this way always.
Most definitely. I am blessed in that way. I can't say that. And I hope they feel the same way about me. I do try to be that person for them as well. But I know a lot of people don't have that, and they do feel like they are just kind of like out here navigating in this world all alone. And my best friend always says, like, this life is not meant to be lived alone. And I truly, truly believe that. And I mean, just talking about the relationship thing, everybody wants to, be in a relationship and just have that one somebody. But I can honestly say my somebody might not be a husband, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And because you're sharing so much, what I've decided to do is anybody who joins the gratefulness journey, I'm going to give them a special code for a discount on some gratefulness gear, gratefulness everyday gear for Sonia. And we're going to give a part of those proceeds to help Lynn with her medical expenses. So anybody who joins the gratefulness journey this week, you'll get a special discount. All right. Adrian Green has joined us. Brenda Landry, Tina Gibson. Hello, Brenda Landry, Ramona Roseberry, Andrea Williams. Thank you all for joining. I hope you will click share and tag someone to join us in the discussion. 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to join in our discussion. Okay, we lost Kim, God is my hero, Jones. I hope she will come back. I hope Tamuk Scruggs will come back. Try to help him out. I know that he will have some interesting insight, as he always does. All right. So before I leave our commercial break, tell me if you can share. You're saying not going so well. Tell me about what's going on that you might be able to share with us here in Love and Stuff that you wish were different.
Here you go. I wish I was not feeling so overwhelmed, and I think it has a lot to do with coming up on the anniversary of my brother's death.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, in addition to work and school, which is driving me crazy, but he's been on my mind a lot.
And I often pause at saying I understand, because you don't understand anyone's unique relationship where there is loss. But having lost siblings, I know what it is to be in a place where you're thinking about your siblings. Is coming up on the anniversary. I had my oldest sibling passed on January 7th, 2005. And this January 7th felt like January 7th, 2005.
2005, right. I guess, yep.
Yeah. So there will be times now, January 7th, 2013, I was fine. I thought, I was in a great place, and I was grateful for the things that I had experienced through my sister. And then this year was different. So it will ebb and flow. But and you should sit in the in the center of it,
Okay.
which means you shouldn't deny it. You shouldn't say, I'm gonna push past it because
Well, it doesn't work for one. It doesn't work,
yeah,
and that's what I have been trying to do. But yeah, it doesn't work. So
yeah. So yeah, you got to sit in the center of it, and then know that these moments will come in different waves at different times, and ride those waves until you get to shore. And as sure as I'm talking to you, you will find yourself on the shore, and hopefully, some people don't believe in the presence of voices and who have gone on, but you will hear this voice saying, "Girl, get it together, get it together."
Right. Yeah, and that kind of, when I get in that little space, yeah, I can kind of imagine him talking mess and teasing me, and so yeah, I can believe that.
Okay. All right, great. So Tamook Scruggs finally stumbled into the room, and we're
well, man, I had to do my community duties. Had to help some folks.
I understand that. Well, thank you for joining us. And so I want to ask you this question. We've been talking to Sonia about the topic, and have you found that the older that you get, the less inhibitions you have about sex?
Oh yeah, I mean, because once you realize the consequences versus the pleasure versus the pain versus the experience, you start to understand the things that you like, things you don't like. So when you have those opportunities to experience that, yeah, you don't really put no hangups on yourself. Hey, let me shoot your shot.
And are you more apt to shoot your shot now that you're older on the first date, or was that younger? Has that changed as you have aged?
Well, what has happened for me now compared to in my younger days is, in my younger days, it wasn't so much about me being able to just go out and have sex. Because again, as you are young and immature, you don't know how to navigate the pathways to get to that point. So you want to have sex whenever you can get it, but you don't always have the maturity to be able to go about the ways of being able to connect with somebody like that, short of paying ahead of time. Whereas now, at this stage in my life, I'm a lot more picky, and I know the things that I like, and I know how to connect that and how to basically connect with the vibrations from somebody else that is feeling the same way that I am. So it's a lot easier now for it.
Okay. And have you noticed across the span of these years of time, when you have had, if you have had sex on the first date or early into the interaction, did she have more an expectation that there was going to be some continuation of the sex or relationship because it happened early?
It's been a mixed bag with that, because I've had some interactions with some people that on our first encounter, beyond even, well, just as an example, I've met some people that I've talked with quite frequently on the phone before we would actually get together. But on that first initial contact, beyond the initial meeting, we were intimate. But I've also had some situations where I met some people, and on the same day, our vibrations and our chemistry was so strong that that meeting turned into a full days long relationship. So,
when you say a 4 days long relationship or 4 days long relations, I'm just trying to follow.
It turned into a full days long relationship that included relations.
And let me ask this: that day long relationship that had a day long of relations, what was the expectation on day 2?
Well, for that particular situation, there really was no expectation other than trying to stay in communication, because the particular person I met, just like we say back, old school, I met on a humble, And we ended up spending a little time with me trying to help her in the situation that she was going through. And she ultimately ended up, she had a couple of hours to spend here in the city. So I took her on a tour of the city. We hung out, we had dinner, we had some great conversation. We talked about a lot of life involving things going on in the world and in the universe, and how nothing is a mistake. And that led to some deeper conversation, and that led to some vulnerability. And anytime that you are mentally naked, that leads to, a lot of times leads to being physically naked. So we spent a good 8-9 hours together before she ended up having to leave. So there was, we had a really deep connection, and when we parted ways, there were some tears involved. So we stayed in contact for a while after that, but there was no real expectation after that. But it was a great date.
Got it. Bernard Hall has joined us, as well as Andre Green. Thank you both, gentlemen, for joining us. I hope you will click share and tag some folks, 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends, to join the discussion. And Tamuk, I was going to ask you, and Sonia, I'm asking you, when you have that chemistry that is that strong, as Tamuk says, those vibrations that are that strong on your first meeting or first date, how important is it for you if you sense, because Sonia said earlier to Mook, she kind of knows whether or not it's somebody that she would be intimate with. If you know that it's somebody that you will be intimate with, how much more careful are you to ensure that that person understands that this is potentially just sex?
Oh, that's a, I guess you kind of have to let that fall how it's gonna fall, because sometimes it depends on what your end goal is.
So if your end goal is that it's just sex, it's going to be amazing sex, but you're not in a relationship as a result of it. How careful are you to convey that, and how do you convey that to the person that you're getting ready to have this amazing sex based on this amazing chemistry that had amazing vibrations? What care or custody do you take to ensure that the other person is aware that for you, this is an opportunity for amazing sex?
Oh, I let them know that off the back. It's me. So hey, listen. If you do this, you're gonna enjoy yourself, and we're gonna keep it moving. Whatever happens beyond that, that's gonna be up to you. But I'm just gonna tell you, today you're gonna enjoy yourself, and that's what it's gonna be. Whatever your situationship is beyond this, it is what it is. We're gonna do what we do, and then we'll keep it moving. Now, if you want to call me afterwards, call me. I may not answer, but still, and vice versa. If I call you and you don't answer, I'm not gonna feel some type of way. So
okay. And so
at this particular age, I'm sorry, Margaret, but at this particular age and stage in my life, man, I don't have time to BS nobody, and I don't have time for nobody to BS me. So, grown women out here in our age group, they know what they want, and they want it just as much, if not more, than we do as men. So it is what it is.
Okay. And Sonia, what do you say?
You definitely have. I agree. You have to have a conversation. I mean, just be upfront. What is it that you're looking for? Are you looking for a relationship? Are you just looking for somebody to hang out with? You trying to get somebody that you trying to get to know someone that you could possibly date? Are you just looking to have sex? Like, what are you looking for? You have to have that conversation, because he's right. Women know, especially the older we get, we know what we want. And if I just want to have sex, I'll say that. And if I don't, I'll say that. And it's okay.
Okay. Christopher Bryan has joined us, and Andrea Williams is saying, oh, wow. So Andrea joined us. I'd rather you come on the screen and tell me why you're saying, oh, wow. Click on the link for the Zoom, and J. Gerald help her to get to the screen. Andre Green, I'd like for you to come to the screen. Christopher Bryant, I would love for you to come to the screen. I love that. let me ask you, what happens if that's your intent? As you said, Tamuk, it's a drive-by. You didn't say that, but that's what I said. So
Hey,
you
right.
you're gonna do it. But what happens if your feelings get in there some way, and after this amazing sex, you're like, uh-oh, I think I do want something more. How do you handle that? Because now you're kind of breaking the rules of engagement if you two both said it's sex, and then you leave and walk away and like, I could do life with this one. Maybe
Well,
you might think that.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if the opportunity is there for long-term love and commitment, I'm shooting my shot. I just got to. I got to let it fall like it's gonna fall.
Okay.
But and personally, I have, especially at this stage of my life, I'm not in the habit of trying to be intimate with somebody that I don't think that I can see myself being with long term.
Got it.
So,
okay. Very good. Sonya, what about you?
I'm sorry, but women know when they want the meat, and they know when they, just like men know when they want the yams, and it's gonna be a whole meal. It's either gonna be takeout or it's gonna be.
I knew we couldn't survive a loving stuff with you on the camera without yams. Sonya,
it's all in the meal, man. It's all in the meal.
Sonya, what do you have to add, if anything?
Oh Lord Jesus.
Hey Sonya, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? I totally agree. It's not about, I just want to go have sex. But we're human. We're sexual beings. Women that walk around trying to act like they are not interested in sex, they are lying. That is not unless something wrong with you. Mm-hmm. But you are interested, and we are just as interested as men are. Mm-hmm. And I know it's like a taboo, so to speak, to be verbal about that, but it shouldn't be.
And why do you think it is taboo? Why do you think it's taboo?
I think we just raised that way. We were conditioned to think and believe that women are supposed to sit here and you're supposed to be good and, and pure and all that, as if sex is a bad thing, and it doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't. If you are making an informed decision and you have that conversation and you both agree, regardless of what you agree on, whether you say we're going to date or we're just going to have sex or whatever it is, it doesn't have to be bad. It really can be a good thing. Yeah. It really doesn't have to be bad.
Okay.
I think part of it is because women are reared to be wholesome and pure, and society says that they can't be sexually active without being deemed.
But Tamuk, who are men having sex with if the women aren't sexually active?
Hello.
Hey, that's a topic for a whole nother conversation, because I'm just saying. But
Monique Tipton has joined us. I'm jumping in. Monique Tipton has joined us.
Hey, Moni.
I want to ask a different question, which is the second question from the inbox. He says, why do women who say they can't stand your ways continue to date you? Have either you experienced, Sonya shared that she was in a relationship and she was hoping he would change. But Tamuk, have you kept dating a woman who said that, she couldn't stand something about you and nagged you about something, but she wouldn't go away?
Yeah, I've been in that situation.
Why would you keep dating her, or why do you think she kept dating you?
I say this all the time. Dang, son, why you acting like that?
I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Listen, I say this all the time, especially because I have daughters. And when I'm out here mentoring and talking to guys about how to become better men and to be better people and how to raise their children better, I tell them that you have to start to understand that great sex will keep you in a bad situation far longer than you would ever be in if the sex wasn't as good. So that's why people, when it comes to having temporary satisfaction, people will put up with a lot of stuff. It's the same reason why people go to work right now and work for $10 an hour. They know they are worth more,
Mhm.
but because they are in whatever situation they're in, they don't have the mental capacity to, or they don't have the resources to be in a better position. So they
Mhm.
accept and they settle. So no matter if a person don't like what you're doing,
Mhm.
you have two options: stay or leave. And
Mhm.
most of the time, people stay where they're comfortable at, and that's the thing. People very rarely want to be uncomfortable,
Mhm.
so they
And
stay in a bad situation.
and as I was talking to the gentleman in the inbox, he was saying uh, she stays, so it can't really be that bad. So he kind of discounts or dismisses all the complaining that she does. She complains that he doesn't call her enough, or he doesn't spend enough time, or he gambles at the casino, or he drinks too much, or he hangs out with the fellas too much, or he watches too many sports instead of giving her attention and time. But he's kind of discounted that because she stays. And he figured if it was really horrible, why would she stay?
But that's a fallacy, though, because it could be really that bad. She just may not have the strength to lead.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
it's not that she. Well, if it's that bad, well, she might. It must not really be that bad because she's still here. No, she might still be there because she might just be. And it's not. I won't say she because in this particular case we're talking about somebody in the inbox. But men and women both do this.
Mhm.
So it's a situation where, uh, hey, they may just not have the strength to lead. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times, a lot of people stay in abusive relationships.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
like Monique said, and Monique Tipton is one of my long-term friends from elementary. And like she said, sometimes people hold on to things until something better comes along. And
Yeah.
if you don't have the time or the resources or whatsoever it is to find somebody better, then you stay
Mhm.
where you're comfortable at. Because a lot of times people say, well, I'd rather stay in a bad situation that I know
And
how things are going to be than to
Mhm.
try to go out here and deal with the unknown craziness from somebody else.
Yeah. Thanks for reading the comments. Thanks. Danielle Scott has joined us. Lena Brown has joined us. Cora Fitch Williams has joined us. I hope all of you will click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. We're talking from the inbox of a 31-year-old man who wants to know, ladies, why do you expect if you're having sex on the first date that is going to be more? Why are you expecting him to be all in? And then why do you stay in a relationship with someone who you say you can't stand his ways? Why do you keep dating him? Tamuki said he had 3 steadies last year and several hot and readies. And me and Sonia talked a little bit about that. You know, she's like, how he got all that time. And
I'm sorry for him.
I was remembering when I was younger, I said, yeah, you can have that kind of time. You
You
could
can
have
have that
that
kind
time.
of time. Yeah, it's all
But
in scheduling.
yeah,
So you know,
it is a schedule. It is a
and then
schedule.
especially, I mean, two things play into that. If you have the resources to date that many people,
Mm-hmm.
you can do that. And if you don't really have a job, then you don't. I mean, you can do that.
Yeah.
So it's
But you
time and
also can
money.
be creative and innovative because dating, lift your hands. Dating can be free. It can be free.
It can
Yep,
be
If
free.
you're creative
It
and
can be free.
innovative,
it can be.
you can have free dates, cheap dates, and expensive dates. And you can
Yes.
rotate them bad boys. You
Yeah,
can.
you
I'm
can.
not I'm not promoting that you should. I'm just saying I remember from yesteryear how you could do a date and it would not cost you a lot. You could get more out of the date than you put into it.
Hey, $40 go a long way now, just like it
Oh
did back
Lord.
then.
$20 goes a long way.
Hey,
$20.
well, yeah, if I got to spend between 20 and the 40, I'm spending the 40. I don't want
Well, that's good for you. But I'm pretty creative and innovative, so I could spend 19.
Y'all funny. Y'all are
Beverly
hilarious.
Gibson has joined us. Waldo Jimenez has joined us. Staffy Blakely has joined us. Staying in comfort area, not good. Tina Harris has joined us. Thank you all for coming. I hope that you will share this with 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends. And so he was talking about there being steadies and there being hot and readies. And he was saying to Mook that the steadies were the ones that would not leave him alone, even though they chronically complained that he had these ways that they could never reconcile.
But he didn't leave them alone either.
And the hot and readies, he said, were the ones that were calling him all the time saying, I want more. Why aren't you calling me? Why aren't you taking me out? Why are you only seeing me at nighttime? And I'm thinking, Now,
'Cause they-
you got to know something's up if he's only seeing you at nighttime. But there are people, no shade, no judgment, who are not awakened when there is a person that you are interacting with who only will see you at certain times of the day or certain days of the week. There are people who just say that's his schedule or that's her schedule versus thinking that there might be something to it.
Well,
But if that's a problem, then it's still a problem, regardless of, even if it was a valid schedule. If that's a problem for you, it's a problem for you. So nobody can do to you what you don't allow.
Yeah. Well, especially if you think that the sex is amazing,
Yeah.
right? If that's the lure, then you're
Yeah.
willing to just, a pop-up or drive-through or whatever you want to call it, at 3 o'clock in the morning every Friday night, but never
It's
ever
crazy.
takes you anywhere, never sees you at the light of day.
I wish.
Well, it happens, man. For me, it just sounds like his studies are the hot and readies that have already been rolled over, and the hot and readies are the ones being groomed to become steadies when the other steadies move on.
Yeah.
So, because that's normally how it happens.
I kind of told him that the studies really are similar to what you were saying earlier, Tamu. They haven't mustered up the courage, or maybe the esteem isn't at the level where they understand that you don't have to settle if someone has amazing sex and they are intolerable otherwise. There is probably somebody out there who has amazing sex who you can tolerate.
I promise.
And so they haven't stepped out to be courageous enough to say, the only reason I'm here is because the sex is amazing. Let me go out and see what other sex is amazing, if that is your goal. And I know there are Christians, evangelists, all kind of folks, devout.
They having sex too, so it's all right.
But there are people who find some of this conversation a little strong, and might find offensive to their beliefs and love and stuff. We want everybody to feel respected, though we might not always agree, right?
I got one thing to say to that, Marcus.
I'm not done saying what I'm saying.
Oh, well.
So in that regard, I understand, acknowledge, and celebrate that. I honor it. That premarital sex is not the prescribed way for any Christian who espouses Christianity. I'm on the record saying it. I'm saying if you have made a conscious decision, like Sonia said earlier, that you're going to have sex, and you're going to have sex with whomever, that you ought to say, if there are other factors about this person that outweigh that sex, you don't have to stay in that situation. Go find you both the sex and the companionship, the whatever it is that you want. Get the courage, muster the courage to challenge yourself to say, I can have something better or different. Now, what were you going to share?
Somebody had them, so they was having sex. So
you know what?
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
you can't be throwing stones, and it is what it is. This is it's love and stuff, and this is a part of being adults and having adult conversation. There's no reason to be offended about anything that we're talking about, because nobody.
Every week I get an inbox from somebody who feels that the topic went a different way than they had wanted or hoped for, and you would be surprised.
Did they get any information from them?
People have very strong feelings about some of the topic content that we discuss, and I love it because it means that it's causing them to think. And if it's agitating them, it's really getting down to where I want it to get. Just challenge what maybe they've stood on for whatever reasons forever, just to give themselves the reach of a different perspective. And if we can do that, I think that's what will help us be better lovers. And I don't just necessarily mean sexual lovers,
right?
Lovers, children, lovers of our parents, lovers of our siblings,
people,
lovers of the world. And we're constantly challenging and thinking about how we have come to these very strong positions on what we say love isn't and is, what it looks like and isn't. All right. Coco Kempis joined us. Happy belated birthday. I hope you are with Mike And I hope both of you will come in. We're talking with Sonia Sharice, who's on the gratefulness journey, and Tamuk, who's on the yams journey. I want to this journey. Both of them to join our valued members of our community, as are all of you. And we're talking from the inbox regarding this 31-year-old brother who is saying he doesn't understand why he keeps running across these women who have sex with him on the first date and then expect him to be all in. I asked him, Tamuk, whether or not he saw that as some kind of trend that he should pay attention to. That seems like he attracts the kind of woman that's willing to have sex on the first date and thinks that he's going to be her knight in shining armor. And maybe there's something about his presentation, something about his essence, something about his vibrations that
something about the words he used, he might be lying.
Yeah, it might be a part of the sales pitch. You know,
Yep.
if his sales pitch is selling, if they're biting on that sales pitch that strong, then he really need to look at what he's pitching when he's having these conversations. You know, at some point in these conversations, sex has got to come up where the vibrations are that strong, where, especially a female that is very strong-willed, that is somebody that really thinks about different things and has reservations about different activities, and just being in touch with themselves. If they are really in that mindset to where they're going to give themselves to that person, it's because they see something and are hearing something in what he's saying. So if he's selling them a dream, he might want to think about being honest with himself.
Yeah, and even further still, if he's selling them a drink, I think in selling that drink to them, he might be attracting a certain kind of people. He's marketing the drink in a way that he's attracting a certain kind of person. So he might want to revisit where he's going, what he's doing, because that's what you're attracting. That's your marketing.
Yeah, that's the marketing that you're putting out there, and that's the customer that you're getting.
I like what Andrea's saying. You're welcome, Coco. Andrea's saying he gives them hope to get what he wants. Then they feel comfortable enough to allow a first meeting experience. Good point. Good point. Because I think a lot of people want amazing sex. I think they do, but they want it to be connected to some real love.
Absolutely.
And I think that you have to be careful of thinking that because one is going to precede the other. It might not happen in that order. For a lot of people, it doesn't. But some people are thinking, okay, because this amazing chemistry is happening, then here is the groundwork. Here are the signals that this is going to be an amazing love. And I think if he doesn't pitch it that way, if he's careful to make sure he doesn't pitch it that way, then he might have these sisters who are so clingy thinking, okay, now this means this, when in fact, it meant something totally different. Our senior,
and keep in mind, he's 31.
Yeah, but I was just, and I'm not going to say I was the most mature person at 31 or am at 49. I don't know. But at 31, I wasn't thinking, I don't think I was thinking that way, but it could be.
The women he's dating might be his age and a little younger too. So they have things that they are trying to do as far as, find that man. Like when we were in our 20s, girl, we are brought up to want to find that husband and have that family and all of that. So if he's dating women around his age or younger, that's what they're looking for. And he's selling that dream.
Well, I think, and I'm not sure because I don't really know what his pitch is, but there's a whole nother side to this that we haven't really addressed yet, because right now we've just been talking about the actual love side of this. But now with technology being the way that it is, and the amount of reach that you have to such a large group of individuals when it comes to women, his pitch now could be, and men do this, especially in that 25 to 35 age bracket. It might just be that he's showing them some pictures. I don't know what he's built like or whatever, but he may be built in a way that they are sexually attracted to. And he may just be showing them certain types of pictures that they may just really enjoy looking at and want to experience.
Mhm.
So
Oh.
it could, it could be part of that.
Are you saying he's showing them naked pictures? I don't want to say the.
I didn't say that. You
Okay.
said that, but yeah,
No, I'm
that
asking what you're saying. I'm trying to get clarity on what you're saying.
Yeah, that could be part of it.
Okay.
That could be part of it.
So he's kind of luring them with his body.
Hey, if they feeling like on the first date that he has such the package that they want to experience it on the first date, and nowadays, like we've talked about before, in this particular time frame that we're living in now, inhibitions and freedom to sexually express yourself is more open now.
Mhm.
So women now, they feel more like, hey, I don't have to be ashamed about wanting to have sex with a man and then moving on just because he's built the way that I may want a man to be built, especially if whoever they've been dealing with previously ain't built that way.
Mhm.
So you got a guy come along that's in shape, may have a great package, talking good, got a decent job, all the things that they've been looking for, but haven't been able to come across or date in previously. They might say, oh, you know what? Hey, I got to shoot my shot. It's 2020. I got a clear vision now. So, it might just be that situation.
Okay.
Sonya, why are you laughing? I'm just
Patrice Buford has joined us. Lisa Bradham has joined us. Thank you both for coming to 11 Step. I hope you'll click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends. He's not being upfront with who he is, Andrea Williams says. They're meeting his introduction and not the whole agenda of the meeting. Yes. And I'm wondering, Andrea, because at a point, I guess, like Sonia said, and maybe this is true for more women, and women, you can give me a like or love. If you meet a guy, you kind of envision whether or not it could be sexually possible, right? So it's not something that you're just gonna, it's just one thing led to another. No, in your mind, you say, I'm attracted to him and this could happen. And he might be saying the same thing. I'm attracted to her and this could happen. The part that's missing is the conversation around what is the this that's getting ready to happen and what comes after the this that's getting ready to happen.
Right. Because that's important. I don't care what age you are. That's important. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, of course, because, only he knows, but he's not having that kind of conversation. Mm-hmm. Because he's wondering why women think after sex on the first date, he's going to be all in and all in love, because you're not having the conversation. Mm-hmm. And you're not saying, hey, this is just sex, or I don't want a relationship.
And there might be some
leading them on.
Mm-hmm. And there might be some fear around if he tells them that they might not have the sex.
Right, but I promise you, it's so many women out here that will. You can be honest. You can be honest, because just like there are women that's gonna say, well, that's not what I'm looking for. There are women that's gonna say, okay, so what? Mm-hmm. But you can't question why they are expecting. He can't question rather why they're expecting him to be all in. It's because he hasn't told them that he won't be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you think, though, the first date would be premature to expect that he would be all in?
No, not if they're having sex. Mm-hmm. Then that might be something she thinks. You as a man, you have to understand that even though you don't think it, she might think it. So go ahead and tell her that's not what you want.
I'm making faces because Tamuka's adding comments. I don't know why you're making comments and you're on the screen.
She makes you sick.
Because I didn't want to be rude and interrupt her while she was talking. So,
I appreciate that. I just slammer with a comment. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm thinking that it's premature to expect on the first date that someone is going to be that engaged. I mean, I guess, you could have some powerful chemistry. But the reality is, if you're having a first date, you probably need lots more conversation around what this extremely powerful chemistry really is and where it can go. I think it's kind of premature to expect either side, if it's a guy or a girl, to expect that the other person is going to just fall in love.
It is premature, but they do it. And men do it and women do it. And if you're going to have sex because the chemistry is so great or whatever,
Mhm.
you can't assume that everybody is on the same maturity level and that they're not going to think that. Just have the conversation.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think a
And
part of it also is people will say certain things on a initial meeting, the first date,
Mhm.
and then can have great sex, and then it will change their mind. People do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, people do
So
that.
it may not necessarily be that they're trying to lie to them, but sometimes folks get scared of having good sex, great conversation, great chemistry, because they've been let down before, so they'll self-sabotage.
Mhm.
So a lot of times that could be the situation as well. But
Mhm.
Well, you
there
made a good
definitely
point.
may have to have a conversation. Conversation is really part of that,
Okay.
because it's a big difference between saying, "Hey, let's do this and start a family and buy burial plots together," versus the conversation where you're saying, what you about to do, when we get, what I'm saying, 'cause that really happens. That's
Yeah.
real. That's real life. That really happens.
Yeah. And so, what advice would you give to him? We'll start with the second question first, and then go to the first question. And I'll have Jay Gerald jump in this too. Janae Reed has joined us. Thanks for coming to Love and Stuff. Appreciate it. Hope you will click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends. So the second question that he said, why, if you can't stand my ways, why keep dating me? What advice would you give to him or to someone who is in a relationship with somebody and that person is saying, I don't like that you drink, I don't like that you smoke, I don't like that you hang out with your friends, I don't like that you go to the casino and gamble, I don't like, but they don't go anywhere. They stay in the relationship. What advice would you give them?
Me?
Ladies first.
Oh,
Yeah.
smoke.
No, go ahead,
Sonia.
Oh,
and Jay Gerald.
I would. My advice would be, why do you stay in a relationship with somebody that complains about you all the time?
Mhm.
Why give the other person that power that over the relationship? If they're complaining about you and you're wondering like, what are we doing and why are you always complaining? Well, why would you stay?
Mhm. Okay.
I don't understand that.
So you would tell the person, why are you staying? What would you tell the
Yeah.
person? What would you tell the other person?
They both need to go lay on the couch somewhere. Like, grow up. Like, it's so many people out here in this world. You don't have to settle and be with somebody that you don't really like, because it doesn't sound like they like each other if that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Tamuk.
My advice to her would be,
You're already laughing.
I'm just laughing at you, Sonia. I'm just saying. My advice would be just really reevaluate your thoughts, because evidently he don't care about you complaining, so quit or leave. So he don't care about that. That's the best advice I can give you, is go find you somebody that's going to listen to what you want and go understand your love languages, and as well as your body, mentally and physically and spiritually, so that you can be intimate on a deeper level than just being physical. As far as my advice for him, only thing I can say is, hey man, you're gonna have to just have him sit down and fill out a disclaimer saying that, because evidently just talking to him ain't working. So here I have I've done it. I have actually sat people down and say, all right, these are the rules. I'm gonna need you to sign this paperwork so that we don't have no kinds of misunderstandings. Now,
And
unfortunately,
do they actually sign it?
oh yeah, they signed it. They don't adhere to it.
That's just
after them 137 missed calls in 3 minutes and people standing outside your apartment and listen. I mean,
well, the fact that you did that in writing and they signed it should have been a sign to you that you were going to have 37 missed calls.
Hello.
I'm just saying.
The fact that somebody
Well,
would
hey,
sign such foolishness means that
listen,
they needed a little extra help.
listen.
Oh,
I'm saying
Jesus.
celebrities do it all the time. You have to sign a non-disclosure. You have to sign waivers, man, on everything nowadays, and that's what you really have to do. Because if should anything happen where it goes beyond the norm of normal behavior, where things can get extremely bad, you have some type of recourse to say, "Hey, look, Your Honor, look, I didn't want to have to do her like this, but hey, she signed this. She knew full well that
I got
I was here for the yams. It was gonna
Please
be
let
great
me
for us
ask
both."
a question. Please let me ask a question.
Yes, Sonia. Yes, Sonia. Ask your question.
What does this disclaimer say?
Okay, before he tells us that, let me just go back to the comments.
Okay.
Andrea says the sex, obviously, or the hope that they change. She doesn't care. Monique says people say things during sex that gives the impression that they're planning to stick around. Interesting. Philip PD Patrick has joined us. Thank you, sir. Hope you will click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. And by the way, Happy New Year to you. Monique says we all have flaws, but if you have to complain about a person, you need to evaluate your relationship and what you want and expect, like, I don't like yams. Thank you for that, Monique. And Andrea says, right, Marcus. So to move, before we go to Jay Gerald, what's in this disclaimer? I think Sonia wants to know. I could have lived without knowing, but what?
I gotta know. I gotta know.
In the disclaimer, it just basically said that if and when we are sexually active and intimate, that it would be just what it would be. That there would be no hard feelings or anything after that, unless we both have a very open, honest conversation about what our wants and wishes would be, and anything to the adverse of that would get you blocked.
And let me ask you this, Tamu. What led you to this disclaimer?
Well, let me. What led me to the disclaimer was, dealing with some individuals who had some great sex, man, and in our conversations, they were saying some things to me that they said that they wanted. So in the process of us being intimate, and afterwards, that changed. I was being so dreaming. It happens. Like I said, this is not just a man to a woman thing. This is a person thing, man. This happens every day, and nobody is above it.
And so the sex was so amazing that you had to put a disclaimer on it.
Well, after that, it was like, hey, look, we're going to be really upfront about what we ask the universe for.
Okay.
Because if you are not specific, I swear to you, Marcus, you're gonna get what you ask for. But if you don't specifically ask for certain things, the universe will give you what you ask for and laugh at you in the process, and you'll be sitting there like, man, I should have been more specific. You know what? Let me write out a list so I can make sure I cover everything. It's like a contract, man.
I agree and disagree. You say universe and I say God. I do believe that there should be some specificity, but I believe because God is all knowing that there are some things that he knows that I don't even know how to articulate to ask, that he is willing and able through his love and grace to provide. But I understand your point. I think your point is that you got to write stuff down. I was just wondering what was the pathway that led you to it, if it was some busted windows, some slashed tires after some amazing sex. That's what it sounded like in my mind. That's what my mind was saying. You're saying that you busted out your windows. And so you had to say, let me let you all know right up front, if this happens, I'm a block.
Man. It wasn't that way for me, but for me, it was like, hey, why do me like this when all I'm trying to do is honor what you say you want. So when you try to play me like that, and then I go to your other man and be like, all right, well, let's take our girl out to the Pistons game together. And you still looking at me like I'm crazy. Because see, I'm gonna always one up you. I was petty like that. I'm gonna one up you. If you say you want to be with me, but then you turn around, you got 4 other dudes, and then I find out, then me, you, them 3 other dudes, we all gonna go hang out. because I got to get some clarity and understanding on the situation. Because what you said to me was, this is what you wanted, but in reality, it wasn't. So from that point, I was like, you know what? I'm never gonna be in this situation again, and I don't want to put nobody else in that kind of situation. So it's better to have a conversation up front.
Gotcha.
JJ.
James Gibson has joined us. Thank you, James Gibson. Thanks and Happy New Year to you. Andrea says anybody that's with him knows it's not about anything but yams. Okay, thank you.
I don't know why she would even feel like that.
James Gibson says, why is Sonia Cherie so fine? So James Gibson, I don't know how long you've known Sonia Cherie.
Shut up.
Middle school, and she's been this beautiful since seventh grade at Hampton Middle School. It was her, and she was smart too. Her and Sharina Coleman were two beautiful young ladies when we were middle schoolers. So James Gibson, we're gonna have to talk about this.
No, Jay, just keep going.
We're gonna have to talk about this. All right, Jay Gerald, what advice do you give to this gentleman about these women who he says are always nagging or complaining about him, but they won't go away? They keep dating him. What advice would you give to him?
So my question would be, it would be a question. Mm-hmm. And my question to him would be, is it the attention that he's looking for? Because out of everything, if he keeps running into these types of situations and staying in these types of situations, that's what he's seeking. He's looking for that.
Let me ask you this, Jay Gerald. I don't know if this has happened to you or to Mook. Have you ever been in a relationship with somebody that you wanted to break up with, but you wanted them to break up with you?
Oh, yeah.
And have you ever waited them out to see if they were going to break up with you and they never did and you finally had to break up with them?
Oh, no. I never waited them out. But watch this. What I would do is I would make them pissed off enough where they would break up.
Yeah, I tried that. It didn't work. And it's probably because I'm so doggone handsome. They said, he was crazy and I'm going to stick with him. Tamuk, have you ever done that? Tamuk, have you ever done where you wanted somebody to break up with you and you just like laid in the cut?
Yeah.
Sonia, have you ever done that?
I can't. I honestly can't remember ever having
that's the Bill Clinton answer right there. That's plausible deniability right there.
I don't think I've ever been in that situation where I wanted to break up with somebody and I wanted them to do it.
Yeah, you wanted them to, because you figure, at least in my mind, I used to think that if I let you break up with me, you're not going to try to come back.
Right.
But that is a lie from the hell. You will come back every 5 years.
No, I didn't. Yeah, no.
Right. Well, no, they won't come back.
Yeah, they will.
They always do.
Yeah, they will.
Nah, occasionally they won't.
Well, that's been my testimony. It's been a long string of testimony.
Hey, maybe
that's another mess.
That's another show.
Y'all a mess.
But so back to Jay Gerald, you would ask him, what are you doing to attract this kind of woman?
Yeah, and that's what there's a flaw somewhere along the way in what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm pointing at Tamuk because I want him to stop commenting. Go ahead.
He's doing exactly what he wants. There's no way this can continue to happen over and over and over again. No.
Okay.
There's a flaw in his approach.
Okay. Jerome Jackson has joined us. Roderick Dixon, the famous 3-mo tenor, has joined us. I'm always excited every time he comes. I'm over the moon excited whenever he comes. Thank you for coming, sir. Andrea says the 5-year itch or 3-year, Andrea. Sometimes it's a 3-year itch. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Jay Gerald, go ahead.
So, and then you ask, what would you tell the women? I wouldn't have anything to tell the woman. I mean, here's the deal. If she really don't like him, and he's this, he does this, she don't like that, and she don't like this, then it has to be something that she loves.
Mhm. I always,
and whatever it is that she loves outweighs everything she hates.
Yeah. J. Gerald, I always tell the women who tell me, I can't stand his old broke blankety blank. I can't stand this old non-going to church blankety blank. I can't stand this old smoking blunts blankety blank. I said, well, something is wrong with you that you stay in that relationship with him if you can't stand him. And I always say, how great is the sex? And they fall out laughing because the reality is, as Tamika said, and I think Sonia said, people will settle for a whole lot of stuff for great sex and intimacy.
Yeah.
Fortunately or unfortunately, it's a reality that people will look past all of your faults if you meet their needs.
Watch this. And the sex ain't got to be that great.
Yeah.
And it can be just consistent.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if I was going to put up with Hell on Wheels, it'd have to be amazing.
I promise you, it better be.
I don't think I can do Hell on Wheels. And no disrespect to Sonia, because they say hell have no fury like a woman scorned. If you piss off a woman, you might as well go sleep in the garage. But I don't think that the sex would make that kind of difference. I don't think.
I feel you. I'm with you.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. And what I tell them is, if you can have amazing sex with him, and I know, you know, J. Gerald is an elder, so I have the utmost respect for him. So all of the elders that watch this and folks in church, I don't mean any disrespect. But if amazing sex is what you want, you can find amazing sex with someone that you can more than tolerate.
Yeah, but you got to go through a lot of people to get to that.
Of doing that, if that's what your A game is. Find someone who's not cray-cray, someone who's not abusive, someone who doesn't have all of the attributes that you say that you cannot live with. Find someone else who has amazing sex and has everything else that you want. Don't stay in a relationship where you're saying this guy talks to me any kind of way, he's cheap, he's broke, he gambles his money away, he's this, he's that. Leave him alone to someone else to have that amazing sex. Because what you have become is a nag muffin. That's my phrase.
Wow.
When you nag and nag and nag and nag at somebody, they're going to do one or two things. They're going to ignore you and tune you out, or they're going to discount you because you stay even though you complain.
Yeah.
But to move forward, to get to that person who's giving you that amazing sex that you like, you got to go through a lot of people, a lot of stuff in order to get to that. Because watch this. Well, this is what I'm saying. Okay. The people on this panel, no, I don't expect those people to have to go through all that to get there. Mm-hmm. However, the type of people that we're talking about, because of their mindset, people want to go the least way of resistance. Mm-hmm. All week, I've been talking to other people about the least way of resistance. Mm-hmm. In order for people to get to the relationship that they want, they will go the least way of resistance. Mm-hmm. That's why people accept the junk that was in their life before, they'll accept that junk right back into their lives. Mm-hmm. Because they know, and as was said earlier, they already know what they're getting out of that person. Mm-hmm. And they would rather get junk from what they know than to go to the unknown and possibly get the hope that they're looking for. Mm-hmm. And that's life, that's relationships, that's everything. Okay. So those individuals, they're out there. And I don't expect watch this. If it was one of y'all, I'll call you up and ask you, what the heck are you doing? Mm-hmm. It won't be heck. It would be stronger words. Okay. All right.
Yams. Yams.
I'm done.
Andrea, Andrea says, then he wonders why he keeps drinking, buying or providing the drinks. Everything free ain't worth it. Ryan Kelly has joined us. Thank you, sir, for coming to Love and Stuff. I hope you will click, share, and tag some of your friends to join us. Let's go to the first question, which is.
I'm sorry, Marcus.
Go ahead.
I gotta go. I just want to say bye.
I appreciate you
go.
coming. Thank you so much.
No problem. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Night, gentlemen. Thank you for the laugh.
This is what I do. Enjoy your evening.
Bye.
Yes, it is.
So before we close, I just want to ask about the first question. The first question is he's wondering, why do women who have sex on the first date expect more than that? Why do they expect more than that? What advice would you give him relative to that?
I would say that he really would need to clean up his pitch so that people are clear about what his wants are in matching up with theirs, so that there are no misunderstandings. Because right now he's living a decent life. He's having fun, but at the cost of being nagged and still having to date multiple women. I'm not seeing that being long-term and being overall healthy in the process. So at some point you got to be realistic with yourself as to what you really want and what your long-term end game goal is, because that you can't keep, it's too much stuff out here that can kill you. And there's even more stuff out here that you can live with that ain't worth living with to be dating all these people. So love and stuff. It is. I say it all the time. It's love over everything, man. No amount of great sex and bad relationship is worth the headache when you can be out here and find love, man. It's just not worth it.
Okay. Jay Gerald.
So for me, he set the precedent. He set the foundation from the start. So, my thing is, if you don't have sex on the first date, that means everything's open. The whole bar is open. So whatever it is that first of all, you can't get to know someone and have sex on the first date, well, unless you've been dating them or talking to them for a while, and now it's the first, encounter or whatever. But you can't get to know that person and really set the boundaries that you're trying to set and have sex on the first date.
Even if you communicate to them on the first date that is your goal, your end goal is to have sex.
Well, here's the thing. But he hasn't communicated. Yeah, if you communicate that to him, yeah, okay, you can have, watch this, you can have an expectation that they'll follow through with whatever that expectation is that you communicated. Sex is powerful. And when sex comes into the equation, it trumps everything.
Mara V. Wright has joined us. Thanks so much for coming to Love and Stuff. Monique says, stop having sex on the first meetup. Andre Sonny Woods is watching. Thank you, sir. I'm honored that you come, as well as Gregory Brown. I hope all of you will click, share, and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to continue the discussion. Andrea Williams says, stop going after the easy and find someone who is in the same place. He has 3 steadies and 2 jump offs. And these days, women accept a lot for a little. He's got his little. I know this because men come to me trying what she allowed. And so that's part of, there has to be, as you all have been saying, I think as a kind of a common thread, that there has to be some understanding, some communication. I said common thread to move because your disclaimer agreement is on the end of the continuum. It's the extreme end. But there does have to be some conversation. I don't know that you have to go to the lengths that Tamuk does and writing and say, here, sign this. I'm not sure that will work for everybody, but there is at least a conversation, because the reality is when you meet someone, You know if you are physically stimulated, you know if you are mentally stimulated, and as you engage them in conversation, you know if you become emotionally stimulated. And there needs to be conversations, as each of those are milestones along a journey. If any of those happen, there should be conversation. So when you are for some men, because we're hunters, right? Immediately we verbalize when we are something is aesthetically beautiful or we are physically stimulated. When there's that physical attraction, almost without having good game, we either say something corny, something sexy, something sultry, something. We're going to say something. And that's one of those process milestones. It should be the same thing when you're stimulated mentally, the same thing when you're stimulated emotionally. And I think that as you grow older and you have less inhibitions, you have to have more thought about the order of those stimulus or the order of your response to those stimuli. So maybe intellectual stimuli is the one that you give more attention to and more communication to, and the physical you give more discipline to, more restraint to, and emotional lies somewhere in the middle, maybe. But you got to be able to look at these things that they're like latches, they get unlatched, right? When someone is talking your language, as I heard Tamut saying earlier, they're talking about the things that move you emotionally. They're talking about a family. They're talking about building business together. They're talking about mentoring together. They're talking about worshiping and becoming spiritual beings together. That might move you emotionally, and that should drive you to some conversation around, okay, what do you really mean in this? And then if someone, which is my favorite, if someone stimulates you intellectually,
right,
which is my favorite, that's the easiest way to unlock levers to me. Then there's some conversation even around that. And the same for the physical, but you got to use some discipline in all three, especially if you have outgrown any inhibitions around sex or sexuality. Because the less restrictive you are, the more apt you are to move more quickly. And so you kind of build for yourself some process that says, even though I'm motivated, highly motivated by the vibrations, as Tamut says, that are more physical, that's the area that I've got to give more restraint to. And I've got to see, okay, is there any context emotionally to this connection? After we're done physically, am I going to tear up the disclaimer? Or am I going to want to have some more engagement emotionally or intellectually? And I think that's what I might advise this gentleman. I mean, 31 is still young. I remember being 31, kind of in a different headspace than he might be now. But if I knew back then what I know now, I would say these are important levers that you have to find a way to connect conversation around these milestones of what stimulates you. And it's not always all physical, but for men, quite often, it is first physical. It is first what we see that we're attracted to before we look underneath to delve any farther. And women, a little different. There are plenty of women out there that, as you heard Sonia say, are going to respond to the physical, respond to the package, as you heard Tamut say. But there are some women who are going to be moved first emotionally. And so you got to be aware of what moves you and what needs more restraint and what needs more control if you don't want to be in a situation where it's sex first. Now, the reality is that there are people that want it to be sex first. And if that's the case, two adults need to have a conversation about what that looks like and what that looks like after the day long, as you heard Tamut say earlier, the day long relations and the day long relationship. What does that look like after day one, if there is to be any day after day one? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Andrea said his bait is for catfish, but he got yams. Y'all leave Tamut alone. Denard, thank you, sir, for coming to Love and Stuff. I appreciate everyone for coming. I think it's an interesting topic, and I hope that our inbox gentleman will watch this show. I haven't seen him come through. Of course, I wouldn't tell you who he is, but I haven't seen him come through as yet. But I'm hoping that as he watches this show and playback, that it does what we hope that every Love and Stuff show does. It causes him to think There is a role that he plays in this, as well as all of the ladies that are affixed and attached. And he kind of has an upper hand in that he can kind of determine how he continues to move forward or not move forward at all in those relationships. What were you going to say, Gerald?
I was going to say, I believe that he has all control in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's up to him to say, you know what, let me try not to have sex on the first date.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other question was going to be, when was the last time he didn't have sex on the first date?
Mm-hmm. Well, he admitted to not having sex on the first date, but I don't think it's all in his hands. No pun intended. I think that there's an opportunity for her to say no.
Now, that was funny.
People tell me that I'm funny when I don't try. So I wasn't trying to be funny. So there you have it. But
I think that was to move presence.
I think she has a great amount of power because a woman, in most instances, can control a man very easily when it comes to, if she has a good esteem, when it comes to sexual interaction. She can make him bait for that a long, long time. And there are men who, if they're really hunters and really want the prey, if you will they'll wait for it. And so a woman who has good esteem and who has great restraint, because I think those two have to come together. She has to say, even though I'm physically attracted to him and he emotionally moves me, I intellectually know this does not make sense to enter into this at this time. Let me see what he's willing to bring to the table. At some future point, I can make that determination once I see how these three parts of him align. But it takes a woman with good esteem and good restraint to be able to do that. And I think so he doesn't have all the power. She could say, you know what? I think you got the package. I think you are all that I would want, but let's just chill. No Netflix and chill. Let's just chill and let's just hang out and let's just get.
Dude, that's two of them. We got two of them in there.
I'm getting better. Let's just hang out and let's just see. And if he's really interested and really highly motivated, especially sexually driven, he's gonna keep after it and keep after it and keep after it. And she knows that if she has good esteem. I suspect that the women that don't have good esteem or good restraint, because you can have good, healthy esteem, but you're highly sexual. And you decide as a woman that I want to have sex with him as much as he wants to have sex with me. And you might not have the restraint. And you might say, okay, let's do it. So it's the combination of the two where I don't think it's all, as we have said, proverbially in his hands.
I think it's in his hands. I'm going to agree to disagree on that because it's his decision.
Yeah.
If
well, it's only his decision if he rapes her. It ain't his decision exclusively.
No, what I'm saying is that if he keeps putting himself in these situations, because he's not talking about one woman, he's asking us about how come all these women.
Because they keep all sleeping with him. They all could say, as fine as you are, if you fine as a mug, you still not getting none.
And all he's got to say is, I ain't giving none.
Right, but that means that he's not the only one in control. That means they have a dual role, is what I'm saying.
If you take yourself out of the situation, that's control.
And if she takes herself out of the situation, that's control. So they have a dual role.
Okay.
I hear
somebody needs to make a decision. If he asking me this question, I'm really trying to wrap my head around, is he serious about this? And if he is serious about this, then I would tell him to remove himself from the situation.
Yeah, I don't think that the seriousness he has, I think from the inbox conversation, is that he's saying he does not want to have sex with a woman who believes that there's going to be more than sex. And he does not want to date a woman who keeps telling him, I don't want to be with you because I can't stand your ways, but keeps dating him. He has a role in that.
He gonna have to pick a side because he can't have a strong woman and then have the woman that's gonna give him what he wants. He gonna have to figure out. He gonna have to leave everybody alone.
But to move is the strong woman strong if she's saying all these things are wrong with him, but I'm staying. It's like it's like the Dream Girls, Jennifer Hudson or Holiday, whichever one, and they're both with Jamie Foxx, and they're saying, I'm gonna stay. Well, he's cheating, he's doing all these other things. Why would you want to stay?
Well, there's the thing where people feel like they want to put in some work. They don't just want to give up on the situation because we talk about planting seeds all the time, and it may not bear fruit right then, but at least you're letting your will and your desires be known. Now, how long you stay is the question, because again, it's only nagging if somebody doesn't like it. So if you're expressing yourself and letting people know, hey, look, I don't like the behavior that you're exhibiting towards me when we are supposed to be on a level. Now, how long you do that, how often you do that is an issue or could become an issue. But hey, sometimes you gotta let people know, listen, if you ain't gonna go in there and put your socks in the dirty clothes, then it's gonna be a problem. But you still gonna come in the room. You know what I'm saying? But some people are still mentally immature no matter how old they are. So but over time, with continued conversation and hints being dropped or whatever, sometimes that actually does help and that does change. Yeah. But it's just a matter of you putting a time frame on it before you decide to move on.
Yes. Well, I appreciate both you and J. Gerald joining us tonight. That wraps it up for this edition of our Love and Stuff. I want to thank Sonia Cherise, Tamuk Scruggs, and our senior associate producer, J. Gerald Harvey, for all joining us. I'm just going to double back to the comments. Most of the comments right now are about meat and yams. So I think we're getting into the late edition of stuff. They're saying leave the meat on the table, say yes to the mess, Tamuk Scruggs, yam meats, whatever. Women bring the yams and men bring the meats. Yeah, so it's a lot of meats and yams conversation for whole soul food. And on that note, thank you, Senior Associate Producer J. Gerald Harvey IV. Thank you to Thank you, sir. Appreciate you both so much for joining us on this edition.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all. Have a good evening, man.
All right, Tamuk. Take care now.
All right.
Thank you both. And that will do it for, I know we got some labs coming because we've been yams and meats out tonight. But I do want to just double back for the purpose of closing out the discussion. And again, I thank J. Gerald Harvey IV. He is an exceptional brother, and he has been a godsend to our Love and Stuff community. Shout out to him for the hard work he does behind the scenes to help work with me, which cannot be easy. But I appreciate his hard work and effort and commitment. Thank you, Sonia Cherise. Thank you to Tamuk Scruggs, both valued members of our Love and Stuff community, and all of you are. Demonstrate that value tonight by clicking share and tagging some people in this content, ensuring that you have yourself gone to our Love and Stuff page and clicked follow. We're at 3,065 followers. Our goal is 20,000 followers, and I can't simply get there without you. I need you to share this content with your friends. So when you go to our Love and Stuff page, go to community, click invite friends, and then invite all. Select all of your friends. If you enjoy this content, I am sure that they will, so that we can continue to build the platform to be one that you would be proud of, being part of our Love and Stuff community week after week and day after day. I want to remind you and thank you for those of you who have already supported our fundraiser, which has been to assist Lynn Shaw, who's a member of our Love and Stuff community, who is a multiple myeloma cancer survivor. We're raising funds to help defray some of her medical expenses and Medicare, medicine, prescription coverage. We put up a fundraiser for $5,000. We've reached 10% of that goal. We're going to re-up that so that we can do the other 4,500 so that we can be a blessing to her. As you may know, if you've been in our Love and Stuff community, we co-authored with Lynn an ebook, The 7 Steps to Surviving a Diagnosis. And listen, this ebook is good if you're surviving a layoff, a foreclosure on your home, a bankruptcy, a divorce, a broken relationship, abuse, whatever the diagnosis has been. There are 7 steps for you to walk into freedom and healing and beginning a new journey again, that you will be able to move forward in your life. There may be scars from your past, but you can move forward with getting these 7 steps to surviving a diagnosis. It's a free ebook and you can get it on our page. You just click our talk box there, put your name and email address, and we will email it to you. You can also join the gratefulness journey every day on our page. 3 things you're grateful for, speaking them aloud as affirmations to yourself, sharing them with 3 people throughout your day. Do that for 30 days and you're on the gratefulness journey every day. You can also sign up on the Love and Stuff page through the talk box for grateful, and we will send you a gratitude quiz, a free quiz that you take to measure how grateful you really are, and it'll give you some tips on how you can improve, enhance, and increase your gratefulness in this world. Join the gratefulness journey. And while you're at the Love and Stuff page, we have Love and Stuff and gratefulness journey gear, hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, performance tees, workout tees, body jerseys for babies, t-shirt dresses for ladies, and tote bags for ladies as well, in just about any color and size, from $16.99 to $31.99. 25% of the net proceeds go toward disaster relief and to support and uplift the transient community, as well as scholarship efforts for those that are seeking to further their education. You know, when we think about this inbox topic, and thank you, Natalie Burns, for joining us, and Carmen Davis, thank you for joining us. Happy New Year to you both. Hope you will click share and tag some folks to join in the conversation. When you think about why you might get involved in a relationship that's physical very early, and there is no judgment or shade here in Love and Stuff. We know there are many different beliefs and belief systems that are a part of our fabric here in Love and Stuff, but I want to tell you this, that it is your choice and you do have power. And as I said earlier, and I just want to reiterate for you, that typically men and sometimes women, we heard from Sonia Charisse, we see what we want and we go after it. We act and move upon our physical attraction. You know that part of the body, that part of a person that attracts you most. For some people, it's hair. For some people, it's a beard. For some people, it's breast or buttocks. For some people, it's the meats or the package, as you heard Tamuk say. Everybody has something that physically attracts you to another human being. Everybody has something that emotionally connects you to another human being. And still, everybody has something or some things that stimulates you intellectually about an individual. If you, as you lose inhibitions around sex, sexuality, sexual orientation, sex along a continuum, as you age, you typically lose those inhibitions. When you're younger, it's not really the loss of inhibitions, you don't know better. And so you have to learn. But as you age, you typically lose inhibitions. But you must also then structure these very 3 things that I've mentioned so that you have restraint in the appropriate areas. You have to exhibit restraint when you know your response to an emotional connection will make you go into your pocket, because that's how marketing works. It connects emotionally to you to drive you to make purchases. An emotional connection will help you pay somebody's rent. Sometimes a physical connection, but that's another show. And a physical connection will make you get physical. The goal is to order these stimuli and build your restraint in a way that you control how you respond to those stimuli. There is nothing wrong with the stimuli. You were wired and created to respond to the stimuli in the appropriate time and way with the appropriate restraint for the expression of self, of sex, and of psyche. But you got to be careful because you may jack up all three if you don't have the discipline or restraint to put them in an appropriate order as you release inhibitions around all three. It's been a great show. I hope you will share this content. Our goal every week is 60 shares and 1,000 views. And we want to consistently do that because it will help us as we move to do brand collaboration with major brands and in stream ads. We have to have a certain number of views and a certain number of engagements to keep ourselves before the Facebook folks that determine who get the opportunity for those advertising opportunities. Why do we want them? Because we want to be love on steroids. We want to be love that is upped around the world. And because of you who are watching in Las Vegas, Nevada, and in Sacramento, California, and in Detroit, Michigan, and in Indianapolis, Indiana, and New York, New York, and Atlanta, Georgia, and Memphis, Tennessee, and Ghana, and Nigeria, and Vancouver, British Columbia, Toronto, Canada, Mexico, Spain, China, India. We want to be able to bring love and stuff where you are. We're working on the dating game that's happening here locally, right during the Valentine's Day holiday, but we want to bring it worldwide because we know that you're looking for love and you are desiring a clearer vision on love in 2020. And we want to appear in your vision with love and stuff that comes to your city with mentoring. You heard Tamuk talk about the mentoring, and you will meet Cheryl Swacker Conneal, and you will meet Valencia Etner, and you will meet Tabitha Goodner. You will get a chance to meet many of our men and women, educators like Arnaldo Jimenez, Ashante Bryant. You will get to meet many of the people in front of the scenes and behind the scenes of Love and Stuff, Rashida the Glam Doctor LaShawn, around the world who want to share what we all know, that we can have a better world and we get about the business of upping our love game. The world doesn't need another war. And the world does not need a violation of the Constitution. What the world needs is just a little bit more love. And if each of us gave a little bit more love, walked out a little bit more love, what a different world we'd have. That's what our platform is all about. No special hook or gimmick, I don't think. It really is about love. Because if you think about it, all of us could love better, including ourselves and others. We believe, and I know it challenges the belief system of others, that the quintessential love is God. And that God loved us so much that he designed us to reflect the love that he is. So much so that he wanted us to love him with all that we have within us and our neighbors as ourselves. I think that's so powerful because until you love yourself, you really can't love anybody else. And so that self-love and self-discovery and that self-elevation of love in your life and in your existence has to happen and occur for you to love that spouse, that significant other, that child, that parent, that coworker. All of the love that you have for you is then mirrored to be love for others. That's what our platform is about. And if you would feel valued being in a community that's about love, this is the place to be. And we need your support by the purchase of product, in our Love and Stuff inventory, and by sharing the content so that we can get more people on board to join us on the journey of love. Just hitting some of the comments really quick. Yep. Thank you for the ebook link. And if you can, J. Gerald, drop in there, I'd appreciate it if you can drop in the Gratefulness Journey link. I appreciate J. Gerald so much. He's hardworking. And maybe one day we could actually, challenge Art Van. If you're in the Detroit area, you should shop Art Van because he's a sales manager there. And we could say, we're going to take him and he's going to be our executive producer. We'd love to be able to do that. And we can't do any of that without your support. We will be streaming our Gratefulness Journey every day, Saturday, on our Twitch TV channel, on our YouTube channel, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook on both pages. And we're trying to work out that multi-stream platform so that we can broaden our reach. And we want your feedback for how the video is coming across on those multiple platforms. We want your feedback on the topics. We want you to inbox us at Love and Stuff or at Marcus R. Holmes and give us feedback about the show and the content and the length and the guest and all things Love and Stuff so that we can make and improve it to be the kind of platform that you would be proud to share. I'm Marcus Holmes. Thank you so much. Have a grateful night, and I'll see you Saturday on the Gratefulness Journey every day. Don't forget to stop by the page and shop, or at the very least, click follow. Have a great night.